Hey everyone, just checking in. What we're going to talk about today is 5 steps. 5 steps that you need to tackle when trying to figure out, do you want to stay or go? Simultaneously wondering, do I want to stay or do I want to go? So before we get started, quickly put a thumbs up down below if you ever feel this roller coaster of wanting to stay and then some days wanting to go. How do you decide? How do you get that clarity? How do you feel more self-assured every single day? Each day being like, I'm staying, I'm in it today. Or getting that confidence to be like, I'm done. So where does that come from? So before we get there, I want to ask you, do you flip-flop? Do you often flip-flop between these answers? Do you flip-flop between the decision to stay or go? Do you flip-flop based on the answers he gives you or the lack of answers? Like you go to ask him a question and based on that, if it's no answer or if it feels like it's an answer you don't believe, does that make you want to stay or go? What is he saying? What is he doing? How is he showing up that's making you want to stay or go? Does he get defensive and it makes you want to go because you're like, I'm done with this. You need to tell me the truth. So deciding whether to stay or go on the roller coaster every single day is so tough on your nervous system. So let's figure this out today. I want to give you 5 strategies to figuring out how to either get off this roller coaster, right? So how to make that decision, how to get off the roller coaster, the key factors in making this decision, what to do if that voice keeps saying go or stay. How do we tackle that voice? Especially if you're like, I want to stay, but that voice, it keeps telling me go, go, go. And yeah, like I said, how to get off this roller coaster. So I'm Beth Miller. I am the marriage coach at Solify Wellness. I'm also the founder of the Marriage Saver program. And like I said, put a thumbs up down below if you feel like you're on this roller coaster. And of course, if you want some more support, you're like, I want off of this, just DM roller coaster. If you DM us roller coaster or put it in the comments below, we'll give you some more strategies on how to move through this. All right. Also, for those of you on YouTube, feel free to join our Facebook group. The link is below. It is wives who want to save their marriages after infidelity. And if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to give a thumbs up, click the notification bell so you never miss a training. And those in the Facebook group, feel free to go over to YouTube so you don't miss a training there either. All right, here we go. So what do you do? What do you do if you simultaneously want to save your marriage and leave your marriage? So knowing when to walk away is one of the most difficult decisions that are out there. Massive. There's so many things to consider. There's considering your finances, your past together, shared memories, the kids, your house, everything, right? There's so much to consider. And I often say to wives, if you were just married a year, you were maybe renting an apartment, no kids yet, would you stay or go? And so many are like, I'd be gone. I'm out of here. But it just feels so heavy because there's so much there. You have to take into consideration so many different factors then versus just the two of you and maybe not having a lot of investments together. So marriage is more than 2 people. It really is. It's your life, it's your memories, it's your kids, it's your finances, all rolled into one. So it's not a simple decision at all. So deciding whether to file for divorce or to keep working on your marriage is an exploration of the soul. Let's just call it that. We got to go deep to get this answer. The answers are always within us, which is so crazy because sometimes we just want to vent and have people tell us what to do. For instance, I had a client just now, I was talking to it, and she's been talking to other people in her family. They're like, let him go, just let him go. But deep down within her, she's like, I'm not ready to let him go. But from an authentic place, she's like, I am okay sitting here waiting for him to do what he needs to do because I worked on myself. She will know when it's time to go. So it can be difficult when we start to look to outside sources, but if you can tap into your authentic self, like the place that it's healed from a lot of the pain, a lot of the hurt. Yes, there's grief. Grief is different, but if you've healed from the lies, you can put the infidelity in the past. It's amazing how these decisions will come. So anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later, but deciding whether to file for divorce or keep working on your marriage really is an exploration of your soul, your true self, that intuition. Saving a marriage is not always possible, right? And what I'm giving you today, these strategies do not involve your spouse if they have addictions. Certain mental health can also impact this too. So there are certain things that are not within our control that it's really important that our partner does seek out individual counseling. But it is incredible how much a wife can do when trying to save your marriage. But that's not our topic today. Our topic is what do you do when you're simultaneously wanting to save a marriage but you have this other voice in your head. So one thing is that there's no guarantee, right? We don't have a crystal ball, which keeps us on that roller coaster because you just want to know, you want to know the fate because it's like minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day at times, wondering the fate of your marriage. So I want you to ask yourself this, what do you want? right now? What do you want in this stage of your life? How is it that you want to be treated? And how do you want to feel each day? So what is it that you want right now in terms of, your marriage? What are the criteria that you need for someone that you're with right now? You can even just jump into really quick, like career-wise, family-wise, what is it that you want? Like, get really crystal clear on what you want in your life, because this is when we start to manifest. When it comes to manifestation, I don't want you to say, I want to manifest my husband to like me again. We can't manifest for other people, but we can manifest for ourselves. If you want a relationship that's loving, supportive, giving, you feel like he can open up and communicate well, he does fun things, you can laugh together, you can go on hikes together, list out all the characteristics that you want in a spouse. And then what happens is we can't say, I want my spouse to be this, but you need to put it out there and it will come, whether it becomes your husband or I don't even really want to go there, somebody else. But when you can step into your worth, realizing this is what I need in a relationship, that will come to you. It will. So asking yourself, what do I want in this stage of my life? How do I want to be treated? And how do I want to feel each day? I want to feel happy. I want to feel joy. I want to feel at peace. I want to feel light. I want to feel in control. I want to feel enough. I want to feel like I can make good decisions. I want to start putting myself first. I want to have healthy boundaries. So here's the $1 million question. How do I decide to stay or go? How do I get that little voice to stop? So that's our jumping off point right there. So first step, that was kind of my intro there. Let's get into the 5 steps. The first one is understanding your emotions. Really clear. The answers are within, but if we're clouded with anger, sadness, resentment, it's very difficult to find this clarity. And also that voice, that angry voice keeps chattering, saying, just go, give it up. The resentment voice says, just go, get out of here. So we really have to start to identify our emotions and validate them. Our emotions are these clues, massive clues to what's underneath the surface. I've talked about this before. We have memories of him texting someone else, reading those messages. Those messages lead to beliefs. The beliefs they always start with an I. I'm not loved. I'm not cared for. I can't trust. And so those beliefs then create all the thoughts. So him sending these text messages saying, I love you, I want to be with you, creates this, he doesn't love me, I'm not enough for him, which then creates these thoughts, right? The thoughts are, he doesn't love me enough, he doesn't care for me, he doesn't like me, he's not kissing me goodbye because he doesn't love me, which then creates these emotions of sadness. So we have to get to these emotions and then kind of trickle them back, being like, okay, what's the thoughts that drive the emotions? That we can typically figure out. Although there's 60,000 thoughts per day in our head, sometimes more, sometimes less. And those that have been through infidelity, probably more, right? That's a lot of thoughts. You're exhausted. You can't get off the thought train. So you know the emotion, you can figure out the thought maybe, and then if we can get to the belief. And that's what we have to figure out. If the belief is I'm not loved, I'm not cared for, I'm not enough, that's when we really want to start tackling that. Because if we have a different belief, being like, I am worthy of someone who loves me. I am worthy of someone I can trust. Today I can't trust, but I'm going to let go of who he was in the past. When we can change that belief, we then have different thoughts, but then have different emotions. So acknowledging those emotions, whether it's betrayal, sadness, anger, confusion, and emphasizing the importance of these emotions. What are they trying to tell me? What are the clues associated with these emotions here? And we can't just turn off emotions. They're neurochemicals that are being released in your body. You have a thought, that little neuron, that thought traveling down your neural pathways, like there's a neurochemical being released in your body, which then floods your body. So I sometimes feel like the blood is leaving our body. Just all of a sudden, it's a wave of anger that comes over us. So what are these emotions telling us? For example, if it's anger, you feel the anger, try these 2 journaling prompts. If it's anger, simply say, I feel, insert emotion because. So I feel angry because. I feel angry because of the trickle truths. I feel angry because of all the lies. I feel angry because he's broken our family. I feel angry because he brought her into our home. I feel angry, I feel angry, I feel angry because. And then I want you to go through each of those things, the trickle truths, the lies, brought into the home, broken our family. Go into each one and figure out what that means about you. What it means about you. So for example, the trickle truths. I feel angry about the trickle truths. And the trickle truths mean that I am not loved, I am not cared for, I'm not worthy of his respect, I'm not worthy of being told the truth. So I am not respected, I am not loved. Those are our beliefs, and we want to tackle those ones. Because if we can rewrite those, being like, I am loved, I am worthy, that can really change a lot of things. For example, okay, I feel angry because of the lies. No, we'll do a different one. I feel angry because he broke our family. Him breaking the family means that, you could even do he is, a he isn't. It means he is a horrible person. It means he is selfish. It means he is not a good husband. So we're just picking out the beliefs there. He is or he is not. I am not. And we need to do this on a daily basis, really, like, you gotta spend time doing self-care at this stage, and figuring out what those immediate emotions are to your spouse's what are those immediate emotions to your spouse's, things he does, things he doesn't do, things he says, things he doesn't say. So a big thing too I like to say is, have you, I guess number 2, we can even say, have you learned anything from this relationship? Have you learned everything you need to learn? I always say relationship pain is an invitation for inner work. So let me ask you this, is your partner your greatest teacher right now? Has he been a mirror for you to work on yourself? And so what happens is, a lot of times when I work with clients, they feel like, here, let me grab the sheet here. This is what they feel like. I'm just grabbing it over here. They often say, I put other people's first. I'm not lovable. I'm not heard. My feelings don't matter. I'm a failure. I'm a fool. I'm a people pleaser. I don't like conflict. I'm not lucky. Bad things happen to me. I'm lonely. I'm neglected. I'm abandoned. I'm rejected. Yeah. That's a lot of stuff, right? And so if we can tackle that stuff, like his infidelity has triggered all of that within you. And a lot of women are like, I used to be really confident. They can go back and see themselves like college or different times of their life where they're like, yeah, I felt invincible. I felt all that stuff. I had good boundaries. I could tackle conflict more. But then they find themselves all of a sudden not able to feel those things. And so that's why it's like, his infidelity, this relationship pain, is an invitation for inner work. It's like you can look in the mirror and be like, okay, I don't feel heard anymore. I don't feel seen. I doubt myself, lost myself. And so if your partner's words, actions trigger you to not feel good, feel low self-worth, feel like they keep crossing your boundary, feel like you have to people please, these are signs that you have more to learn from your marriage. So when you feel angry, when you feel resentful, when you feel frustrated, just to get started, this is your body's way of communicating to you. Like, hey, over here, we need to work on this. So if only your body could say, you know what, I'm feeling pain of being rejected. It would be so much nicer, right? I feel pain of being rejected. And you may have felt rejected before in your life. You may have felt rejected by one of your parents, friends, past boyfriends, and this is almost compiling some of the rejection from the past. So, invitation for inner work right now. So we have listened to those feelings. From there, we want to see if there's still work to be done within the marriage. I'm going to say that's 1 point. I'm going to say that's 1A and 1B. But if you get curious and tune into your emotions and dig into the root, why you feel this way, you can deal with your past and your present, like this past infidelity plus your past. Once you no longer feel the past is resurfacing in your marriage, then you'll feel lighter, happier, and have better clarity on what the marriage is doing right now. I often say, like, if your husband lied to you for the first time, one lie, would it have the same emotional impact on your body? Would you have the same thoughts over and over? Most likely not, if it's just one kind of trickle truth. But when you hear trickle truths over and over and over, it just compiles pain after pain after pain after pain, right? So we have to release that pain. Figure out, number 1, is it a boundary? Number 2, am I worthy of this? Like, am I worthy of better than this? And if so, I'm like, yeah, I deserve a relationship where there are no trickle truths, but I choose to stay in this marriage right now because I can see some forward momentum. My husband's going to therapy, or he's working on himself, or he seems more open. He's slowly starting to say more. So I choose to stay because I see the snowball starting to roll down the hill. Okay. Yeah, it is not until this point where we can truly make a decision to stay or go, when we have that lightness. So it's really important. Now, that voice keeps chattering, and we know right now I'm in my marriage. So mindset is so much of it, right? You need to have confidence. You need to love yourself in order to feel safer in your relationship as well. So sometimes not feeling like worthy, not feeling enough can prevent you from actually leaving. And that fear can be paralyzing. So getting yourself to a good place. So number 1, check in with your emotions. And we'll say 1B is really figuring out, is there still pain, stuff I need to work on within this marriage? All right, number 2, assessing the relationship, the current state of the relationship. We really got to look into that. So evaluating your partner's strengths, their weaknesses, considering the history of the relationship. The memories, what has been good, what hasn't been good prior to this. Just like creating that list is really important of assessing this relationship. So I think looking at what it was like and what it is now is also part of this framework. Because if we have that voice, it's like, he's always lying to me, he does this, there is proof that he was maybe something different before. Okay, so we are looking at our emotions, step 1. Step 1B is figuring out, is there still work to be done within this marriage? Is it a mirror for me to kind of become stronger in myself, discover myself? Number 2 is really just, like I said, assessing the relationship. And now into number 3, creating the decision-making framework. And the decision-making framework, again, just make a pro and con list. Simple, old-fashioned pro and con list, listing the benefits, the drawbacks of my marriage right now. And then really looking at the reasons why you're staying, those pros: love, commitment, family, children, and just making sure that it's not too focused on the potential. He could be this type of husband. He could be this type of father. He could be this. He could be that. We want to be careful putting that in the pros list. And then within the he could, you could do a whole bunch of like potential. You could have a whole separate potential, the future vision of your life together. All right, so number 3, making that decision framework just starts off with the pro and con list. And then within that, you could list out the potentials. He could be this, but I see he's not this right now. Number 4 is committing to an action, communicating your decision every single day. Today, I choose to stay in my marriage. Today, I choose to stay. Or, you know what, this week, I'm going to do check-in with myself on Sunday. Today, I choose to stay. So that little voice is like, you should go. He just shuts down on you, or he doesn't answer your question, and that voice automatically goes to, we should leave. I want a divorce. I don't want to be here. We can't do that to ourselves. And nervous system-wise, we're just in this constant fight or flight position. Flight, I'm out of here. We can't keep doing that to yourself. So we got to get our authentic voice out, being like, I choose to stay today. I choose to stay today. And that keeps shedding the layers of the pain and hurt from what he's done to you, and it'll more easily come and more consistently. I use a process with hypnosis where I get my clients really relaxed, very, very relaxed, to the point where we can work on pulling the pain out from the past so that they can get really centered and present in today's current situation of I choose to stay. So committing to this action of, I choose to stay. Setting those goals with yourself, those boundaries with yourself, like I choose to stay until Sunday, and I'll reevaluate it on Sunday. So establishing those clear boundaries of trust with your husband, check-ins with him, and creating your support system, right? Which could involve the step 5 is really seeking out professional help, right? Whether it's individual therapy for both of you, seeking out a marriage coach for yourself. If you have any questions, let me know. The Marriage Saver program is a 12-week program. Clients have access to me every single day. Essentially, it's like 70 mini sessions. Clients who come to me, they've been struggling with their marriage 3-5 years, and what they do is they get profound results in 12 weeks. I have psychologists, I have even psychotherapists, social workers that work with me, and it's phenomenal the results that they get. They're like, it opens their mind to a whole new modality. So figuring out those support groups, we also have a support group within our community as well. So checking that out. So final thoughts on this. Send me a message, roller coaster, or comment below if you need some more support with this. But those steps, really, to do this, you got to look at your emotions. Looking at your emotions, is there still work to be done within this marriage? Is it a mirror for me? Next one is assessing the relationship. Where is it currently at? Pros, cons, and the potential of it. The next one is developing that decision framework as well. Commitment to taking action with your belief every single day. I choose to stay, and seeking out help if you need it. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a wonderful day, and send me a message if you have any questions, and thumbs up if you've been experiencing any of this below. Bye everyone.